Welcome back. This is Mike from Digital Offensive, and you're watching my path to the OSCP. Once again, we're back into Hack the Box, and we're taking a look at Jerry today. Jerry is a very interesting box. Just like most Hack the Box machines out there, the name of the box usually has something to do with the challenge at hand. In this case, if you remember the old TV cartoon, Tom and Jerry, Tom was the cat, hence Tomcat, and Jerry was the mouse. So it was kind of interesting when I first saw the name, and I did my initial port scan and I only came back with port 8080. I jumped over to the IP address 10.10.10.95.8080, and I saw it was Tomcat. And that's where it really gave me the idea of what the name meant, and was able to tie those two together. Now, looking at Tomcat, I kind of figured at some point in time, a lot of the recent Hack the Box machines had some form of Tomcat in it. We started seeing some of it. I expected at some point we would see some type of simplistic Tomcat attack vector where it would easily allow us into this box. Now, I didn't expect it to be this easy though. So this video is going to be pretty short. It's very easy to get root on this box. But I want to add some value add to this and maybe explain a little bit more about some enumeration process as we go through this video. So the first thing we can do here, right? We know the port, we know it's a website. Some of the tools we can use for directory enumeration to find out other paths that we can access here, some interesting items, is we could look at dirbuster, gobuster, dirb. All these tools are built into Kali, and we can simply use them to scan for known directories. So for example, if we do dirb over here and we do http://10.10.10.95, and we're going to do port 8080. And then we're going to do /user/share/dirb/word list. And I'm just going to use the small list. There's a common list, which is great to use the common list. That's going to give you the most common directory paths out there. So you will definitely find all the Apache paths in there because those are common. There's a big list that has tons and tons of data in. It takes a while to get through. But and then there's a small list. If you ever want to see other word lists that are in there, dictionary files are in there, go to the path or in your Kali user/share/dirb/word list, and you can dig in there. Each of the tools have their own path for their word list, and each tool has some of the similarities in the word list and some differences. Sometimes I find GoBuster usually finds a little bit more than Derby, and that's just because of the word list. Now, if you really wanted to, what you can do is you can create a main directory, put all your word lists from all your tools into one section, and then you can quickly just reference that. And I kind of done that with my GoBuster. I copied a lot of well-known word lists off of the internet, and I've copied them into one directory. And I have a GoBuster script that will go through each of those files, enumerating them, basically giving me the best chance of finding the data I need. So we're just going to go right here for a moment. You're just using Derby, something simple, right? We're going to hit enter here. It's going to kick off the scan. And you can see it's going through a whole bunch of different type of directory paths, looking for anything that's going to respond with 200. It will report back other directories as well. But we're really interested in those 200s because those are the ones we're going to be able to access without any type of username and password. And things along that nature, right? So right now we came back with docs, examples, manager. So if we go to manager, right? So manager is actually right here, and there's other thing too. So while we can run this tool, if you knew enough about Tomcat, you really didn't have to enumerate it, right? We can come over here, we go to manager, we click on the manager link and says, is requesting username and password, the site Tomcat manager. So we don't know the username and password, right? What we could do here is we can Google default Apache Tomcat 7.0 username and password, right? And we probably can find the username and password. Because this really looks like a default install, if we hit cancel right here, we can see one of the default username and passwords already show up, Tomcat and secret. So we can verify this if it's going to work. So let's go back here for a second. We're going to click on manager again. We're going to type in Tomcat, and we're going to paste in that password that we just copied. And you can see that we can log into the application, right? Now, let's say that username and password didn't work. We were too lazy to Google. We couldn't find it. We can look at other tools such as Hydra. Now, the problem with Hydra is I would curtail your word list of Hydra to a smaller subset of username and passwords, right? The thing with Hydra is it's very big, it's very bulky. It can take down the site when everyone, their mom, is scanning it. One thing I would suggest, if you guys are not on a VIP plan for Hack the Box, and you guys are constantly having connectivity problems or slowness on boxes, get a VIP plan. I think with the currency rates at the time I bought my VIP plan, it might have been $130 for the year US, which I think is a great deal. It's like $10 a month, $10 to $11 a month, right? You spend more money on that on your Starbucks coffee and things like that. So for the peace of mind, the better speeds, the less likely you to stumble upon a spoiler because people leave their stuff on the machines. When I first started Hack the Box, I was constantly stumbling upon people's scripts, codes, commands, which was kind of cool in a way, kind of learn what other people are doing, but it was kind of spoiling the challenge for me too. So with the VIP account, I can come in and reboot the box as many times as I want. I can know that there's usually no more than 10 to 12 people on my whole VPN at any given time. And when you spread that across 20 different active machines plus challenges, the likelihood you bump into another user is very slim. I think once or twice I ran into another user. But I digress there, right? Let's get back to let's get back to Jerry here. So you can see we can log in. So let's just say we didn't Google, we didn't, the Tom and secret didn't work. We have the option of Hydra, as I said, right? And as I said, Hydra is a little bit big, so we want to make sure we use a smaller word list. But the other tool we can use too is we can use Metasploit as well. Metasploit has an auxiliary module for Tomcat. So if we do MSF console-Q, I like the Q because it starts it up a little quicker, less ASCII art all over the screen. Let's give that a moment to run. And as I always say, it looks like it's going to start a little bit quicker, and it doesn't always. But here we go. So we do search Tomcat. You're going to see there's a lot of Tomcat modules we can use, right? And what we want to use here is we want to use the auxiliary module for the Tomcat Manager login. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to do use, paste, and I'm going to do show options. And let me actually blow this up so it's easier to read while we're in here. So blank passwords. We want to set blank passwords to true. Because if we're really bad admins already that we're using default passwords, there's a good chance that we can find blank passwords. So we're going to set that to true. And then the other one we want to set to true pass. This is the other one. So basically user has passes and say we can use admin or tomcat. So we want to set this to true as well. And next thing we'll do, we'll set our hosts to 10.10.10.95 and set our port to 8080, right? Now we have everything exploit. And this is going to take a few moments to run through. And you can see right here, we do have a successful login attempt, right? So basically, it tried all the default admin credentials, well-known user accounts for Tomcat until it found a working credential. Now, if nothing came back, it would basically say login failed for everyone, but we know that Tomcat secret works. So even if you didn't know, when you click that cancel link there, you entered the wrong password and said, hey, Tomcat secret, to use that to get in, there's other tools out there. I said you could look at using Hydra. It's a little bit bulkier. Hydra would actually be better for you to learn because on the OSCP you can't use these auxiliary modules in the final exam. So that's kind of going to be a little bit of a pain point there. So you want to make sure you have other ways to brute force passwords if you need to brute force them. So we know Tomcat secret. We already validated this Tomcat secret. Now, where do we go from here? We know right away that Tomcat is vulnerable to being able to upload WAR files and executing them. And you can already see that I already have a WAR file up here that we can execute and run. But let's do this. Let's show you how I created that WAR file. So let's exit out of here. And we're going to do cat notes. As you know, I like to keep really good notes as I go through any boxes I'm doing. Jerry being so simple, you can see how short my notes are. Problem. This box is a classic example of poor administration, poor management, misconfigurations. that allows the hacker to get into this machine so simply. So basically the hacker can quickly get into this box, compromise this box. We're going to see shortly, once I create this WAR file, some other poor misconfiguration steps that this admin has done. So right now they're using the full credentials to get into this box. We got into the box. So now let's elevate from here. So we're going to copy this. It's a MSF Venom payload. And what it does is basically we're going to use the Java/JSP shell reverse TCP. So this is the payload. And then we're going to set it. And my IP has changed. Oops. So actually I'm going to do this since my IP has changed. And I'm going to do 10.10.14.9. Now, most times if you have a VIP account, your IP is not changing. I usually leave it connected quite often. And I usually don't have the problem. But because I've been really focusing on some Vuln Hub machines and some OSCP stuff, I've been disconnecting from Hack the Box and focusing on those as well. So if I'm disconnected for a day or two, I usually lose my IP and I end up getting a new one when I reconnect. So we defined our IP. We defined our L port. As I said, I love using common ports. It's very good to use common ports to bypass firewalls. Most admins, most companies require 80.443. A lot of them are using some type of proxy server using 8080 or some other common proxy server port. So using these common ports, unless they have some type of stateful inspection going on where it's saying, or application inspection going on, where they're saying, hey, this HTTP packet you're sending does not look like an HTTP packet, it's going to let it through that firewall, that device, and be able to get outbound to the remote connection. So admins out there, if you're in this field and you're in charge of these devices, firewalls, proxies, and like that, you really want to look at identifying the type of application traffic going out, not just the port traffic that's going out, but identifying what type of traffic that is actually going out on that port. And a lot of the newer technology out there already has this built in. It's just a matter of you configuring and using it. So we're using 443. Most of these boxes in Hack the Box and OSCP, they really don't have that extra layer of security that's going to identify the application, but they do have firewalls in place on some of these boxes that do limit what ports you can use. So we're using 443. We're going to define the file as a WAR file, and we're going to output it to, let's call it Mike, right? Since I already have a Genix web file up there, we'll call it Mike.war. It takes a few moments to generate this. All right, so our payload is now built. So the next thing we need to do before we can deploy our payload, we're going to go back to NS console. Now, on the OSCP, you can use the multi-handler, or at least at the current time, you can use the multi-handler as much as you want. You just can't really use Meterpreter, right? You can use Meterpreter once, and you're done. But we're using a different payload here. We're using the Java-JSP shell reverse TCP payload. So we can do exploit, use exploit, multi-handler, and we're going to hit enter there. We're going to do a set payload, and we're going to set the payload to this. I like copy and pasting. I get lazy. And we're going to enter there. We're going to do set L port to 443, set L host 10.10.14.9, exploit. Okay, so now we have our multi-handler listening on our Hack the Box IP address on port 443. We're going to come over here. We're going to go to browse. We're going to choose Mike.war. We're going to deploy Mike.war. And once it's deployed, right, now it shows up in the application list. So here's all the applications that this box can run. You can see my old one, Genix Web, but down here you can see Mike, right? So we're going to click on Mike to deploy it or to execute it. And when we execute it, you can see that we get our session open. So now we have a reverse shell back to our Kali box here listening. And when we hit enter, we can see that we're sitting in C:\Apache Tomcat. And if we do a who am I, we're already NT authority system. So here's the other misconfiguration on this box, right? So we have default username and password. Now we have a server that's running with over permissions. Is there a reason to have Tomcat running as NT authority? No, right? We don't want these services that can be remotely exploited or known to be exploitable to be running as these elevated services. We probably should have a specialized service account set up for Tomcat with least privileges. So when you log in and you were able to compromise this, you wouldn't be able to quickly be NT authority. Now, as NT authority, basically we can do anything on the system that we want. So we CD to users, and we can do a DR, which it doesn't really matter if we do a DR. We only see one account in here. It's administrator, right? So if we just do CD administrator, CD desktop, where they store the flags, you can see in here there's a flag folder. And inside the flag folder it says 2 for the price of 1.txt, right? Interesting. We've seen something like this in the past on another Hack the Box machine where they had a text file, and that text file ended up being a Stego challenge, which was cool. Well, not Stego challenge. Well, yeah, kind of Stego challenge. It was more that they were basically using alternate data streams to hide data within the text file to find the flags. Kind of Stego, but you decide what you want to call it. So here we're going to do more on this file. And when we do that, we get our user.txt and root.txt. As I said, it was a very simplistic box. There's some value add to having simple boxes on Hack the Box. It keeps people engaged, keeps them coming back. It's a good learning experience for people. Also gives us, I guess, seasoned people a little bit of a break every now and then, get some quick points back. But altogether, it was an interesting box in the sense that you still see this in the real world. You still find Tomcat servers on networks where the admins are lacking in properly securing them down, and you're able to deploy war files to them. I was on engagement about a year or two ago, and during this engagement, we scanned the network for Tomcat, and lo and behold, we came back with 300 plus machines that had Tomcat running. And out of those 300 plus machines, a majority of those machines still had default credentials on them. And when we were talking to the administrators of them and asked them, like, why are you doing this? And their response to it was, well, these are all internal. They can't be reached from the outside world. And we're really just using them for development. I was like, but these machines have access to other data. You have real world data on these machines. So we were able to quickly show them how we can deploy a file to that and take access of the machines. And after that, they were more than willing to work with us to fix the problem, but it did take some time to fix the problem. They had to get all special permissions. They had to work with the business owners and things like that. So as you're building these things, as you're going through your pen tests, your network assessments in your roles or whatever you're doing for a living, or if you're just doing this for fun, you need to be aware of these things. Hack the Box, a lot of times it's a lot of gaming, a lot of capture the flag stuff, but there's been a few occasions now recently where I've been seeing stuff from Hack the Box actually falling into my real world, where I'm seeing some misconfigurations, or I see a service running that I've seen in Hack the Box, and I'm able to quickly jump back to my Hack the Box notes and like, oh yeah, this is what I did here. Let me try this here, alter this there, and lo and behold, it works. So while this was an easy box, it's still very relevant in the real world. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Click the bell at the top of my channel to be notified when I upload new content. Remember, I upload content based on my passions, information security, scuba diving, outdoors and hunting, family life in general. So you may find anything from walkthroughs to my recent scuba diving adventure and the local creek looking for what we call river treasure here. So make sure you subscribe, like the video, share them out on social media. If there's anything you want to know from Hack the Box or any other security topics you would like to see a video on, let me know. I'm always looking for new content to do videos on. Hack the Box is pretty simple to get content going on. As I go through each box, I keep good notes. And then I'm able to show it to you guys. Comment below if there's something else you would like to see. And the tools I use to film these videos, such as VMware to run these images in, Final Cut Pro, which I use to cut the videos, or any of the books I use on security topics. I'll have a link to a few of the items down below in my about for this video. Feel free to use those links. They'll bring you over to Amazon. I have an affiliate program going with them. So I will get some money if you do decide to purchase anything through that vector, but anything helps the channel to continue growing. Feel free to check it out. Figure it's a way to share more information with you guys. Once again, make sure you share the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to try to upload content as much as possible, at least maybe once every 2 weeks. I'll have some new video coming out. Click the bell at the top. You'll also get notified as new content releases. Most Hack the Box videos I film the night before the box is retired, and then once the box retires, I will release the video to the public. This day in terms with Hack the Box. Thanks again, everyone. Hope you liked the video. Give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you at the next video. Thanks.